watching Speak Encouraging Messages. The title of this message is When God Steps In, Part 1. At times, we get discouraged based on our circumstances. We do not see our prayers getting answered. We feel as if God is silent. We wonder if God is listening. We wonder what is going on and how is it that we're not getting the result that we're hoping for. Simply put, we want instant answers from God. Well, please note that God is an omnipresent, omniscient, and omnipotent God. He is everywhere at the same time. He knows everything, and He is all-powerful and has no limits. In Psalms 139 verses 4, it states, "Before a word is on my tongue, you, Lord, know it completely." See, God is not surprised by our prayer requests and wishes. He already knew about it before it happened. Please, do not get discouraged. Realize that it may seem as if nothing is working, but when God is working, we're not always aware of it. Therefore, at times, we believe that God is not working because we do not see progress. However, we must realize that God does not sleep nor slumber, as stated in Psalms 121 verses 4. God is putting the pieces together. So let us relax and give it to God completely. Because when God steps in, miracles generate. When God steps in, the impossible becomes possible. Let us please take a look at the story of Daniel. In Daniel chapter 6, we meet King Darius, the administrators, satraps, and Daniel. Daniel was described as a man with exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom. Daniel 6 verses 3. This plan caused the administrators and satraps to think of ways to get Daniel into trouble because they were jealous of the favor that Daniel had received. So, the administrators and satraps plotted and plotted and plotted and could not find any fault with Daniel. Then they realized that Daniel prayed consistently and decided to use that against him. The administrators and satraps came up with a plan and proposed it to King Darius. Daniel 6:7-9 states, "For the next 30 days, anyone who prays to any god or human other than you, O king, should be thrown into a den of lions. Now, let the king issue a written interdict so that it cannot be altered according to the law of the Medes and Persians, which cannot be changed." So, King Darius issued the written interdict. The men caught Daniel praying to God and reported Daniel to the king. The king thought about the law he had written and was very upset. He started thinking about ways that he could rescue Daniel, and up until the late afternoon, he was struggling to find a way to rescue him. Daniel 6 verses 14. So, even though he was the king, there was nothing that King Darius could do to save Daniel. Daniel 6:16, it states, "So the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, 'May your God whom you serve continually rescue you.' So Daniel was placed into the lion's den, and King Darius was unable to eat or sleep that night. At the first light of dawn, the king hurried to the lion's den to check on Daniel. He called out Daniel's name in a worried voice. 'Daniel? Daniel?' Daniel 6:17-20. Daniel answered the king and said, 'My God sent his angel and closed the lion's mouth so that they have not harmed me, because I was found to be innocent before him, nor have I done any harm to you, O king.' Daniel 6 verses 22. The king was delighted that God, the king of all kings, stepped in and saved Daniel. Daniel came out of the lion's den, and he had no injury of any kind because he had trusted in his God. Daniel 6:23. Just imagine the results we will get from trusting and not doubting God. The king was not able to sleep, but Daniel was peaceful in the lion's den. Imagine what happens when we fully trust God. He grants us peace and protection. The king gave an order to place the men who accused Daniel into the lion's den, along with their children and their wives. Daniel 6:24 stated that they did not even reach the bottom of the den before the lions overpowered them and crushed all their bones. God has a way of turning around what was meant to harm his children to work for their good and for the glory of God. Genesis 50 verses 20. King Darius declared that throughout all the dominion of his kingdom, the people should worship capital G-O-D, for he is the living God. He endures forever. Daniel 6:26. The king could not save Daniel, but the king of all kings saved Daniel. With man, it is impossible, but with God, say what? Did I hear you say all? That's right, all things are possible with God. Matthew 19:26. Prayer moves mountain. Matthew 19:26 states, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. So hope is not lost. Keep on pressing forward because victory is around the corner. So realize that when God steps in, the devil is defeated. When God steps in, problems have solution. When God steps in, what is impossible for man is absolutely possible with God. Matthew 19:26. When God steps in, the mouths of the lions are shut. When God steps in, his children come out with no bruises and they have a testimony. When God steps in, his children are protected in his presence. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye-bye.